Most of the time, you're inside it, inside your schedule, inside your responsibilities, inside your reactions. You're responding to messages, thinking about what's next, fixing, improving, adjusting. Even when you rest, you're still participating, and that's normal. That's how modern life works. But it also means something important almost never happens. You almost never step out of the bubble, always participating. Think about a normal day. You wake up and immediately re-enter the system. Notifications, tasks, conversations, expectations. At work, you contribute, you react, you perform. At home, you manage, you plan, you decide. Even in your free time, you participate. Scrolling, watching, consuming, responding. There's almost no moment where you're just there, not doing, not fixing, not moving anything forward, just observing. And when that moment does appear, it usually feels wrong. Why stepping back feels uncomfortable? Because being a spectator feels passive, useless, unproductive, a bit irresponsible. You feel the urge to justify yourself, to make it useful, to turn it into something. So you grab your phone, you think of something you should do, you turn observation back into participation, not because you're weak, but because you're trained to believe that if you're not involved, you're falling behind. Here's the problem. When you're always a participant, you lose perspective. You're too close, too engaged, too reactive. You're inside the game, so you can't really see the game. You can't see patterns because you're busy responding to moments. You can't notice habits because you're busy repeating them. And over time, this creates a strange feeling, a sense of being busy, but not quite aware of what's actually happening. Becoming a spectator doesn't mean withdrawing from life, it doesn't mean disengaging, and it definitely doesn't mean escaping responsibility. It means something much smaller and, honestly, much harder. It means temporarily changing roles from I need to act to I'm just going to watch, no fixing, no judging, no improving, just noticing. Noticing how you speak, how you react, how quickly you feel pulled into things. As a spectator, you don't need answers, you don't even need insights, you just need presence. When you step back, something subtle happens. You don't suddenly know what to do. You don't gain clarity in a dramatic way, but you start to see repetition. You notice, I always react the same way, I always rush this part, I always avoid that moment. Not because you analyzed it, but because you finally saw it. And that's important, because you can't change what you never actually see. This isn't a retreat, it's not meditation, it's not a reset, it's very ordinary. Sitting in a cafe without your phone, watching people pass by without labeling them, being in a meeting and listening without preparing your response. Sitting on a bench, at home, in a room, doing nothing useful, not trying to relax, not trying to improve the moment, just being a witness. For a few minutes, you are not a participant in your life. You're an observer of it. Here's something important. If you try this, you will probably feel guilty, restless, a bit uneasy. That doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means you're doing something unfamiliar. The discomfort isn't a signal to stop. It's a signal that you've stepped outside the bubble. For once, you're not reacting, you're not producing, you're not proving anything, and that's exactly why it matters. Becoming a spectator doesn't give you answers, but it gives you space. Space between stimulus and response, space between habit and awareness, space between what happens and what you do next. And sometimes that space is enough, not to change everything, but to change one small thing. Maybe you don't need to fix your life. Maybe you don't need a new system or a better routine. Maybe you just need to step out of the bubble. Every now and then, not to leave your life, but to finally see it. So here's a simple question to sit with. When was the last time you watched without participating? No rush, no answer required, just notice.